Shalom from the land of miracles. Shalom from the Sea of Galilee that I love so much. I'm on a little break here, able to see family for a brief time, but look at the fire. Look, do you see the fire behind me? Do you see what the terrorist group Hezbollah has done as they've invaded and taken over southern Lebanon? They're shooting the Galilee, they're shooting where my family lives. Wow, and of course I'm supposed to go back to the army, back to Gaza, back to continue defending from the terrorist group Hamas and Islamic Jihad and Izzeldin al-Qassam. But tomorrow's actually my 13th anniversary. You can hear the planes flying overhead. The Hezbollah terrorist group is shooting the Galilee and burning the Galilee. And I just wonder, what does God think about all this? Is he happy? What does Isaiah chapter 10:34 say? He will cut down the cedars of Lebanon in the forest with an axe, and Lebanon will fall at the hands of the majestic one. Remember yesterday I reported that it's like an unmanned aircraft. These drones, it's not like a drone with 4 propellers. It's an unmanned aircraft, and it bombed Tel Aviv. Well, Israel's hitting back hard. We've decided to change our our approach to things. We've decided to say, you know what, it's time for us to hit back. It's time for us to change up the scenario. If you bomb us, you will be bombed. We have to protect our people. It's time to change the equation and respond to the Houthi attacks. And we've hoped that they would stop. They've been bombing the United States shipping lanes. They've been bombing the United Kingdom. They've been bombing France ships and everything through the Gulf of Aden and all that stuff. So we are here to say, you know, we're ready to stand in the gap. And at this very same time, there's a huge vote for establishing a Palestinian state. You know, this idea that Arafat came up with, this whole thing about, you know, Palestinians were Jewish people. You know, the Palestine Post, that's how we would call the Jerusalem Post back in the day. From the river to the sea, that's what we were telling, Jewish people were telling actually the British to let us have the homeland, the indigenous homeland of Israel, and be here as a free people once again. And the Knesset votes against establishing a Palestinian state, which it would, of course, make all of the old city of Jerusalem as the capital, and Judea and Samaria, the very places of the Bible, the biblical heartland. I'm getting excited, but there's so much biblical heritage of this historical and biblical land. You dig anywhere and you find the truth. You find Hebrew. You find the kingdom of Israel, the kingdom of Judea. In 1920, you had the San Remo Conference, which was actually ratifying the Balfour Declaration. You have 1922, the League of Nations, mandating that this is the promised land. But you still have the UN now, or the ICJ, the Court of Justice, and justice is thrown into the streets, right? It came from the Holocaust. We were attacked by all of these surrounding Arab nations. And again in 1967, Six-Day War. Again in 1973, the Yom Kippur War. There's so much international law that supports these survivors of the Holocaust, the indigenous of the Promised Land, to be here. And I'm not just talking about all the humanitarian aid we did to absorb Jewish people that were kicked out of Muslim nations all over. And we were able to offer 5 different peace accords for the Palestinians to coexist with us, you know. And they rejected every single one. But there is a Palestinian state in Jordan. There was a Palestinian state in Gaza. They rejected all of it. That's like the 6th one, giving in 2005 the entire Gaza over to the Hamas, saying we will have nothing more to do with that except giving you jobs, except giving you water and electricity, except taking care of you and reviving Israel, restoring the language. I was just in the Aliyah Museum with our team and the Ministry of Aliyah, the Ministry of Absorption, and we took them all out to eat. It was just wonderful. And you see the history of how it started out with just a few farmers, and they came here to the Galilee. There was nothing. There was really swamplands, and there was poisonous ground and mudslides, and it was crazy what we came to. Abandoned land. 160 UN member states that recognized the birth of the state of Israel. You see that we had to invent a security barrier to try to protect ourselves. The Arrow 3. We had to stop people like the Houthis, people like the Hamas, like the Hezbollah, like the Islamic Jihad, like the Izzeldin al-Qassam from killing us. And we said we just want to live in peace and work together and have a place of prosperity. But that's not what they seem to have been taught, or I feel like they've been taught nothing to do with Tikkun Olam, fixing the world, nothing to do with light to the nations, nothing to do with it. It's called death to all nations is what they've been taught. So no, we disagree with a Palestinian state that would say that Judea and Samaria are no longer God's land, that would say that Gaza is no longer God's land, that would say that all the old city of Jerusalem where King David ruled, where King Solomon ruled, you know, Hezekiah ruled that would be a capital of a Palestinian state and no Jew is allowed there. It seems wrong. Do you disagree? And if you disagree, I'd like to hear why you disagree. But I know that there's many, many nations voting right now. And but we just got to stand strong. We've got to stand for the truth. Historically, biblically, politically, I mean, international law, this is our homeland, our ancestral land. And I quote Isaiah 41, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Don't be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." God bless you and a good week to you all, my friends.